Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lord. Hey guys, Liverpool 12th man here. Gonna do this Tactics Tuesday. Something I didn't necessarily want to do because it was painful to watch this game over, knowing all the things that went down and all the things that we had to deal with. Um, yeah, it wasn't a fun one to deal with at all. So going to do this tactical breakdown of the Spurs match, Liverpool at Spurs, Highway Robbery, the PGMOL Highway Robbery match. Um, what it also is going to encompass is I'm going to bring out the tactical board. I'm going to break down how we basically the shape that we went through and the considering that we're considering that we played with 10 men 3 games so far, and we've also played not only 3 games with 10 men but now one game with 9 men. Okay, definitely going to go through some of these how we continue to rally and continue to bring some type of shape, and how even when 11 versus 11, I think that we were the dominant, if not more progressive side when it came to the attack. So yeah, definitely going to show some love here by saying first of all, big up to John Conway. Definitely, I can't stress this enough. I say it all the time, but I can't tell you how much it does mean when I do see people, Reds out there that show love by tuning in, dropping a like or hitting the subscribe. It shows that they have the notifications bell on, linked for my broadcast. That means a real lot. Big up to Baz. I know Baz was still going through his recovery. Big up to Baz. He showed love yesterday. Tried to get my tried to get me canceled, but it's all good. a lot of anger, but a lot of love at the same time. But big up to Baz. LVFC TV is where you can find Baz, by the way. Definitely go and link up with him if you haven't linked up already, because definitely Baz has got some great stuff. But it's okay. I see you. I feel you. I wanted again, so I have this set up here where we can go in through some of these different setups. I have a tactical board that I can move around, and I also have a tactical board that I've already put the placements of where we are going through. So when we originally lined up, I brought this out. So this is how we lined up originally with the 4-3-3. They had their own. They had their 4-2-3-1 is what we basically saw them go into. Often, as you can see here, Madison, despite being that 10 role or being that the 10 on this setup, he will often sometimes go up beside Son sometimes, and especially on the press, and somewhat be like the duo press mechanism with Son if they were pressing high. So. And often yesterday, I know I was watching Combined 11s, and we were talking about all the different people, and they were talking about how Madison and Basuma should possibly get into a Combined 11. I don't agree with that because I don't think it's fair, considering that technically in a 4-2-3-1, the 3 plus the 2 is the midfield. Despite the fact that, yes, I know Richarlison and Kuvalevsky are going to play on wing positions and they're going to press high. They're kind of like they play both worlds almost, in the 4-2-3-1. They're a little bit deeper and they're able to play to support the midfield. But even with this format, I mean, what's very unique about this format is that they have 4-2-3-1 and our 4-3-3. Well, when they would press forward, they would often go into this shape where they have this pentagon shape, in essence, in the midfield. So you saw a lot of like Udogie, Basuma as the base, as the sole pivot, Sarr next to him, Madison, and Pedro Porro up front. And that was something of a unique situation because it was pretty much battle for dominance in the midfield. I think that's how terming it, because this pentagon shape, what would happen often is they would often move to even in that pentagon shape, they would often move to this kind of like defensive shell of a pentagon shape, in essence, where Udogie and Basuma would become pivots, defensive pivots on there. And then you'd have Madison, you'd have Sarr, and then you have Pedro Porro in the middle. Sometimes, if not Madison and Pedro Porro switching positions, depending on where they were at the time. And it was unique because if you do see this setup, it looks unique in itself. But the Spurs' main goal was to control the middle, and that was through the 5-man pentagon that they used here and earlier. And even at times, even with this setup, we would see, you'd see Madison and Udogie switch positions every once in a while too. It was very, very interesting because, Madison would then track back and drop deep if Udogie had gotten the ball and was, pressing forward, basically. And that's why we saw a lot of Udogie, he's not an inverted, any of that stuff. It was more so you just saw Udogie, despite him being a fullback, you still saw him press forward because often they had primarily just 2 men back. They had their center backs that were pretty stagnant. They stayed pretty stagnant in their form and their shape. But you saw a lot of this, in the sense of you saw a lot of switching and moving around, but always holding those lines. So what we saw here too is, let me make sure, is this. So even when you did have this, sometimes Son would press back. And that's where they try to create problems for us. That's where they try to really present a lot of problems for us, is that they were trying to have numerical dominance in the midfield. And that's why I said they had a pentagon, which is 5, but then they even, when they would really, really press the issue, Son would drop back. All of a sudden you have Udogie, Basuma, Sarr is that 3 back line, and you have a 3 front line of Son, Pedro Porro, and Madison, which was like very, very difficult because it often would cut down a lot of the angles and spaces, and it would smother the player, especially if the ball was in the middle. It would smother the player in the middle. So what was unique about that is that our counter to that was, okay, if you're going to bring 5 and we're going to force you to possibly even bring Son involved, okay, cool. We still think that our mid 6 can handle your 6 players that you're bringing into the center of the field. And I think that honestly, that was one of the major differences. You can say what you want. Again, this is why I brought up the combined 11. I don't think that I get Basuma, I get everything else. Big up to Jean Grey. Always the lovely Jean Grey is in the house, people. Big up. Whenever you have a situation where you have, these players set up this way, what Klopp was doing was saying, okay, Hackbo can crush it, or in the sense of we're not worried about him being not being able to take care of not being able to take care of his defensive roles. He did enormously. You're going to then force Basuma to possibly even have to take him on. Looking at Sarr is not going to be able to handle Diaz. Pedro Porro, wasn't, incredible versus Jones. You're then saying McAllister to format against Son. You're saying Dom against Madison. Actually, Dom pretty much went more towards Basuma when it came to his defensive roles, because Basuma would go out and he would take on Basuma and try to shut down Basuma, especially when he was in that single pivot. But you have, again, Dom, Salah. You look at these 6 versus their 6 in the midfield. I would say that I would go with Liverpool every day, all day. I get Basuma as a talent. I get that Son is an immensely incredible talent. Madison, again, very good talent. But then that's where But then that's where you do see a little bit of the drop off. You can say what you want about Udogie, Sarr, Pedro Porro playing well this year, but they're not to the levels of what they're facing in Liverpool. That's at least my opinion. So then what happened too, though, is that once you do have that, if like hypothetically the ball was like, passed back to the goalkeeper, or if it's in the at the feet of their center backs, you then could have Salah do this like kind of like Salah and Diaz do this kind of curl situation where they go from inside to out and then attack because then you have Hackbo in the middle. If you're pushing them central, always pushing them central, you're going to have they're going to either have to face trying to find an outlet, which is a very difficult diagonal, or they're going to be pressing it into a very consolidated midfield, or you're just going to have them get the ball taken away by Diaz, who has stepped it up, in my opinion, when it comes to defensive technique and defensive mindset. I think he's done such a great deal of that. Salah, again, has started to finally get out of that comfort zone of feeling like, oh, I can just be a poacher. I'm going to get my shots. I'm going to get my goals. Just worrying about all his goals. And now we're starting to see what we saw, like, for instance, when we saw from Mane when he played for us, in that Mane's work rate and his ability to track back and his ability to press was so exceptional that it made a real difference, and it created so many opportunities for our forwards and center forward, if not our winger in Salah, and vice versa now. And that's why you're seeing a lot of what you're seeing. So when we did create this, we said we wanted to make a narrow middle in a sense. Okay, we wanted to put it narrow. And I know a lot of this is wonky. I'm gonna get a little bit further out of this, but I just wanted you guys to feel and understand what it is that we were doing that was so successful despite the own goal at the end of the game. This is what made it work. We had a midfield that we pressed the midfield, and we kind of did this six-sided. I don't know what a six-sided thing is. A hexagon, I think it is, or something. I don't know. It's been a while since my geometry days. So I don't know if that's a hexagon. I think it's. I don't know what a six is. I know what a five-sided, but six-sided. If you know what a six-sided is, please tell me in the chat, because I don't know. Anyway, yeah. We had a six-sided box here, you can see, and Hackbo at the tip of the spear, McAllister as the other side of the tip of the spear, and then we had Jones and Dom on both sides, and then we had Diaz and Salah on the sides of him to surprise support and always create these, what I'm calling like these triangles. Basically, we had a box here in the middle, obviously, but you create a triangle at the top, triangle at the back, and then you'll be able to always have these triangles be able to press with the two players to press, and having that third as an outlet to be able to intercept the passing lanes. So on this slide here, this is one of my final slides here. So what we also often saw, though, is this is when we went down to 10 men. Okay, so this is where we went to 10 men, and we went to a 4-4-1. Okay. And that was unique in itself. And it's something that we saw against, we saw this same type of concept against Newcastle, and it was very, very effective. You don't remember. The unique thing was we had Salah already in the game. So we utilized him as our sole center forward. And what was unique about that is Salah is such a great player, such an enormous talent. Okay, world-class player, that he is not only able to play right wing for us, or inside forward, but he's also able to play that center forward. And I'm going to say this very, very subtly. He's amazing. Because this guy, Salah, was able to then utilize his strength, his pocket Hercules, and be able to play with his back to the ball, create outlets, create such an interest between these two back players of Romero and Van de Ven that they had to keep a mindful eye, because the last thing you want is Salah 1v1 on It doesn't matter. Romero, Van der Ven. Van der Ven's got pace, but I still think that Salah can match his pace. And even so, I think that his ball skill, dribbling skills would cause Van der Ven to create a mistake, create a foul, something that's going to end up being costly to them. Same with Romero. Romero even more so, because Romero likes to play big, bully ball, and everything else. So when we went to a 4-4-1, it was unique in that we had Robertson, we had VVD, Matip, and Gomez in that back four. But then we pressed with the Diaz, McAllister, Dom, and Hackbo. And we knew that they were doing so much work that we're going to have to, obviously sub once again. So this became a very concise and consolidated box, basically, of players, in that we press them narrow, and we're going to say to them, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to go around us. So that means that Richarlison and Kuvalevsky are going to now have to be some world, Vinicius Jr. style, Mbappe style, players of going around and creating that way. If you want to do that kind of stuff, cool, have at it. But we don't believe that you can, one, control the ball in the middle or take the ball into the middle. And that's just how we match up against them, which is smart. Because here we had, once we went down to 9 men, it was like, okay, I wouldn't say we're waving the white flag, but what we did do is say, we are going to do a defensive shell. We're going to bring in a midfield. This is possibly, maybe not necessarily this midfield per se with McAllister, but but if you were to maybe sub McAllister in for Ryan Gravenberch, which we did, that was possibly one of the more defensive-minded midfields, despite the fact that people might not think of Gravenberch as a great defensive midfielder, but he's got a good engine on him in that if he is able to get the ball at his feet, he can progressively carry the ball forward and be a threat. That's huge. Dom, we all know that. Okay. Endo is a defensive midfielder who people put respect on Endo's name, please. Watoru, get to know that name, please, because I'm so sick and tired of hearing people saying we don't have a DM, we don't have this, we don't have a traditional DM. I'm not going to call out names, but you know who you are out there. Stop, because it's so poor when you do that. Endo is a DM, plain and simple. It might not be the DM that you wanted, but Watoru is a DM. He is the DM that we have. He's the DM that Klopp has chosen to put all the responsibility of the DM's roles on, and no pun intended, Endo. Watoru is also an exceptional DM. The man gets the aerial, has a work rate that's incredible, puts a lot of effort into chasing and pursuing and pressing, not scared to get into tackles. I know a lot of people are worried about him getting bullied off the ball, or because he's maybe too small or not big enough. Come on, people. Stop with that. When you really look at a lot of midfielders, what midfielders are you like, wow, that's a beast of a man? There's really not that many midfielders in the league where you're like, oh, they should be playing like in the NFL or something. Okay, let's stop it there. But what I can say about Wataru is that he's still his center of gravity, as they call it, or his the way that his frame is set up, he's able to take on a lot of things. I know that's the truth. That's the truth, Gene. Big up, Brian. I just saw your chat. Big up, Brian. She's saying poor Endo has had 3/4 of his games he's had to play with 10 or 9 men. Give the guy a chance. Absolutely. The guy comes in he gets called in, and he's like always defending in like a 10-man. He's had 10 men. He's played it 3 times. He's played in 10 men. Actually, 2 times in 10 men, 1 time in 9 men. That's how sad it is. Absolutely spot on, Gene. So yeah, but I thought that they did a great job in the midfield, despite the fact. I mean, Dom's a workhorse. He's just like he has such an amazing engine on him. But that's the thing is that having these three guys in the middle, people are like, oh well, now you're down to 9 men. It should be big up Lloyd. You should have, by bringing them down to 9 men, you should be able to attack us. And we still, with a back five, still said no, not having it, because Robbo's a great defensive player. Matip's a great defensive player. VVD's a great defensive player. Gomez has really stepped up his game to be a good defensive player. Trent was playing well defensively. Okay, and that was one of the unique things about it, is that it really made a difference. It really made a difference. And let me show you how the difference it made, because eventually, even when Gomez it made us like understand the fact that our defensive players are better than we get credit for. I think that our defensive players don't get enough credit, just because we often hear about, oh well, they let up a big chance, or oh we haven't had many clean sheets, or this or that. I understand those portions of concern. However, I still think that the creativity that they bring to our back line is so dynamic that when you have a Trent, when you have Robbo that can bomb forward, when you have, in this format, we had three center backs. We had VVD, we had Matip, we had VVD being the center back. We had Matip to his left, we had Konate to his right. Those things really made a difference in that you're not getting through those guys, and they just didn't. We shut them down, even with 9 men. We shut them down, and it was so interesting to see how, despite the fact that they were pressing forward, you got Kuleski up and pressing forward, Trent was able to take that on. Was I scared of Robert Charleston against Robertson? No, not any day, all day. I'll take that matchup. Pedro Porro, again, is he matching up against Matip? Not going to happen. Son matching up against VVD, and eventually Son would come out, because that's how rigorous they went through in big up to K-Mac. I see you. That's how rigorous their line was when it came to them. It showed that Spurs are a good team. They're not at the level of Liverpool, because Liverpool has so much depth and so much quality, that despite the fact that we did have to use 5 subs, we still utilize those 5 subs to create such a dynamic force on the field that even with 11 men and bringing in fresh legs for the Spurs, they weren't able to break us down. Let's be honest, the goal that Matip let in on the own goal was simply Matip possibly having a moment of fatigue, because pretty much I'd say 8, maybe 9 out of 10 times that ball's going well over. He's being able to clear it, instead of it hitting his shin and him losing control of the ball. That's him getting foot to ball and being able to send that ball out. Or it could have been Ali, who played a phenomenal game. Big up to Allison. Can I say this enough? I can't say this enough. Allison is such a world-class talent that at times, I know none of us really take it for granted, but oh my goodness, you've got to show love for Allison. That guy was making phenomenal saves, and absolutely shutting down, controlling the back. The way that VVD and Allison managed that defense, you can't ask for 2 better field managers when it comes to VVD and Allison, when it comes to taking care of your defense. And that's why, knowing that we have Robbo, who's another great player when it comes to management of defensive lines, Matip with the veteran experience, Gomez knowing that he has a combination he has that history of being a combo with VVD, whether it was Kanate, who we all know is the heir apparent to being the tag team partner of VVD, and Trent. Trent played well, man. Give it up to Trent. Trent played well defensively. I don't think that there was anything that made you say, "Oh, Trent got caught" or anything like that. And this is a game that he wasn't probably expecting to play. It just so happens that the options that we had on that position being defensive measures, made us have to resort to bringing in him, because Gomez going from right back to right center back, despite the fact he had been worked. And I mean, he had put on a lot of work when it came in. K-Max saying it was an error by Gravenberch that led to their own goal. Okay, so let's break that down. Okay, so I remember seeing the play break down to us getting the own goal. If we're gonna focus on the error on Gravenberch, I know that I would primarily because I wouldn't hold him against it primarily because I thought that the word they create expo is definitely going to press the issue. Definitely going to press the issue and everything else. Big up Chris Angel. I have to share. I have not heard the recording. I have not heard the recording yet. I've not heard the recording. I possibly will look for that now then. But okay, so yeah, and I get he didn't so he never got to the player in time, K-Max saying. More so though, I know that the only goal resulted, and I think that he didn't get possibly to the player in time, as K-Max said. I would have to review that again, because I know that this midfield really did some great work. I mean, they're doing the work of basically 4 men, despite being 3 in essence, and what you really got to see here is actually, I mean, if not 4, if not 5 men, really, Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna have a pundit come in 1 second. But I think that what we got to see, the reason why I'm bringing up this is that once this came into it, it basically became a 5-3. Basically, when we went down to 9 men, and it became a flat 5 and a 3. That basically were they ended up pushing the point and ping me to, I don't know what ping. What's ping? I don't know what ping as in meaning is my is it getting am I going in and out? I think that's possibly because I had the thing up. They just give us okay. Everyone's talking about the replay. All right, so I'm gonna send Chris a Chris. I'm gonna send you a give me 1 second. I'm gonna send Chris to come to join me on here. Give us a little bit of a breakdown of what he heard, because I'd like to know what it is too, as to what it is. And K-Mac, I'll send you the link as well. If you K-Mac, hit me up on WhatsApp, and I'll send you the direct link here. So all right, so let me just let me see this. I think the only thing that the major thing I saw from what the VAR said was this. Hold on. I saw the VAR when they were talking about the referees. I think they just said I think that's the closest I saw um, when it came to that. All right, I'm gonna send you the StreamYard. Chris, I just sent it to you. KMac, if you're in there, okay, I just saw it. KMax. Okay, I just sent it to KMac, and I just sent it to I just sent it to I sent you KMac one, and Chris, I sent you the StreamYard link. So yeah, I really thought that we played well. The concept of why I was bringing this up, because I didn't necessarily want to go through a lot of like the we could focus in on, yes, the mistake by Gravenberch to or not mistake, but him not basically getting to the player in time that brought in enough of a sense to give him opportunity to go in. We have K-Mac here. Big up, K-Mac. Can you hear me?
How you doing, mate? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you too. Yeah, big up. So you're telling me, you're saying that Gravenberch you can go in a little bit on the Gravenberch if you want to say what you.
I mean, Klopp played that incredible box 4 which he played against Newcastle when we went down to 10 men.
Right.
And he played it again, and it basically, what it does is it condenses the whole pitch into the centre, which means that we still have the attacking capability to break on the team.
Right.
And all we give them is the wings. And for some reason, Tottenham just didn't use the wings.
Oh, you know what? I think
why
that,
they didn't use the wings.
But and this is why I was saying, that too, is that like I get that you might not think that they were using the wings. I think I can use this one to kind of show. Whoops. Yeah, I can use this one. So I get that you could say that they weren't using the wings, but let me bring it back to even when this was when it was 10 men. So you're saying they weren't using the wings at 10 men, or they weren't even using the wings at 9 men particularly? Because I think at 10, even at 9.
I mean, so they scored the goal by kind of breaking down the wings, yeah? And all they needed to do is carry on using that setup, because Son's a really intelligent player. He makes fantastic runs and can score from close range. And they just stopped doing it, and they kept on going into the middle of the box, like into the middle of the pitch.
Right.
And they played into our hands like so many times. Like we could have we could have been 2-0 up at half time. Well, we should have been 2-0 up at half time.
We should have been. We should have been up 2-0. There's no could on it. We should have been up 2-0 with Hackpo and everything. But the reason why I'm saying, okay, so I'll bring up this one too, actually. And if you look at this, the reason why I'm saying is that we kind of the process, the box that you're talking about, for instance, the box 4, or at least the box that we're trying to play in the midfield. Even this is when we're at 8 men or 9 men, excuse me.
8 men.
It's still pushed. It's still I know it felt like
it at
times. Yeah. Richarlison and Kuvalevsky, they're just not good enough to be able to take on our wings, I think. And they don't have the abilities to go around and create. Now, if that was Vinicius Jr., different story. That's Mbappe. We're in trouble because they have the ability to go around and create and be like, or if that was Diaz playing for their team, which it could have been at one point, considering they were going for him. That's the reason why we got him. You would have seen that. But the idea and concept that he utilized in Newcastle and in this game was, they were saying, is that Klopp wanted to press and force you in centrally. Yeah. So there was just no room. If you're gonna force, obviously Maddison has great ability, Son has great ability. Son wasn't even on at the time towards the end of the game when we had 9 men, because that's how much that we had run them into the ground, considering how much they had to try to open it all up. So it was one of those things where I just thought that, yeah, maybe we could get something out of it.
Literally 30 seconds 30 seconds. That's all we needed to just boot the ball. Just boot the ball away.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's hard pressed to see Matip. I don't hold any ill regard to Matip, despite obviously
no.
the mental lapse, and I can't say enough about how Allison is such a G, man. I love Allison so much. The fact that the first thing he did was like go and make sure that he knew that, hey, we've got your back, Matip. So
we also moved Gomez into the centre, and he was sensational. Like he was sensational in that game. I mean, I know he kind of got caught out of position for their goal, but it was just a really well worked goal. It really was.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, and we're down to 10 men as well. So I think that was when we were trying to maybe move the formation around, and we got caught in two minds trying to go into that box formation, because it was shortly after. We kind of. I think we did. We make a substitution just before they scored.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think we were tactically changing, and that's how we got caught. But I'm sure Chris wants to talk about the audio.
Yeah. Let me bring in Bayesian Angel. I didn't give a proper welcome to KMAC. Obviously, KMAC channel. If you haven't subbed or you're not subscribed already, be sure to do so. And then Bayesian Angel representing Bayesian Reds TV in the house. I see Bayesian Pops LFC in the house too. But Bayesian Angel, brother, how are you doing today?
I'm actually pretty okay, to be honest. Like, I think
you're okay. Yeah.
Like, I think it sucks, right? Because I think the last season, right? We're just unfortunately we're bringing that back, but it took such a toll on me emotionally that I just don't feel. Like, I just don't. Like, all the emotion was just drained last season. Waking up at like 4 a.m, watching us play horribly, and waking up at 7 a.m, and it just emotionally it just drained me. So it just drained me. I just don't have it. Like, I just don't have the emotion to kind of like sit here and like argue with people anymore, or like start conspiracy theories and all that stuff. I just don't have it in me. Like, that's it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard the voice, the recording. It is a hard pill to swallow. Like, it's very hard to it's very hard not to like think there's something going on against us when you hear it. And so people may know and stuff, and I'm not trying to start a conspiracy.
Did you hear it? But wait, 1 second. Let me just make sure. K-Mac, did you already hear the recording yet or no?
Yeah, I think he did. I think.
Or is this the first?
I've got some incredible stats to add on to what you're talking about, Chris.
All right. But
some unbelievable stats. Right, they will blow your mind, honestly.
I think K-Mac already heard the audio, though. I think, if I'm correct, though.
Yeah.
That's you've heard the audio as well too.
I've read it. I put it in the chat. Not the chat here, in the chat.
So
I put the transcript.
Yeah,
so
the Bleacher Report. Okay, that's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah. So not to start a conspiracy thing, and I know some people that follow me and stuff, they know that I was in the military. I don't really speak a lot about what I did in the military, but the audio seems weird to me. Like,
oh no,
AI.
Oh no,
AI.
Oh,
it's AI.
No,
it seems.
Get out.
I just don't want to start that. But I'm just saying that here because family, and I just want to, like, I don't know. I will have to hear it again, but whatever, right? So I don't want to put that narrative out there, right? And then 2, VAR works, right? I don't want to say it doesn't work. It works when there's competent people working that system. What surprised me, there was one guy, right? Or K-Mac, you can attest to it because you heard it. There was one guy in the whole, what I heard was pretty much trying to, like, he was like a what the fuck moment. Like, what are you doing? Like,
he was the junior. He was
Yeah.
he was the less senior one.
Yeah, he's like, "What are
He
you
was
doing?" Like,
the assistant he was the guy that watched the video.
yeah. So
But
he
it
was
looks like
like,
none of the others watched the video.
let's put a scenario, right? So let's say, for example, I'm doing the video, and let's say, for example, 12 man, you're the one on the field, and it was like, okay, let me put the line here. Okay, everything good. Okay, goal. I say goal. 12 man
Complete.
starts the game right away, and the game's already playing. And I'm saying, wait, time out. The goal wasn't given. Stop the play. Like, stop it. Like, we have to award them the goal. And then someone else is like, oh, it's too late. The game's already started.
And you know who that was.
Like, that to me, that
you
shit
know
is
who that
crazy
was.
to me.
You
I don't know
know
who
who
that
the
was.
person kept on shouting, we can't do it, we can't do it.
We can't do it. Yeah. It was like, we can't do it.
England. Yeah. Darren England. Guys, you need to have a look at all of the decisions that have gone against us in the last 3 years that Darren England has been involved in.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Saka? Do you remember the Saka goal last season when they didn't have the camera angle? Do you remember that one?
Okay.
Do you remember that goal? That was at Anfield.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Oh no, no wait. Wasn't that the Emirates?
Sorry, it was at the Emirates.
That was the Emirates, I think.
Yeah. Guess who was in charge of the VAR for that one? Darren England.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Guys.
Yep.
Guess who was in charge of the goal line technology when the ball didn't go over the line for Man City? You know, that goal that cost us the league. England, seriously, like it's really, really difficult to not say conspiracy.
Yeah, it is. That's what I'm saying now.
But I've got a stat which I found out today, which will blow your mind. 514 yellow cards against Liverpool teams have had since Klopp's been in charge. Okay, how many yellow cards have been given to another player to turn into a red card in the Premier League? Have a guess. None.
Probably.
Not
probably
one
half,
player has been sent off in the Premier League for a second yellow card against Jurgen Klopp. And you're telling me there's no agenda? I'm sorry. There was eight game-changing errors in that game. I mean, I'll just name two right now. Okay. Yeah. One of them was Romero took his shirt off when Matip scored the own goal. He was on a yellow card. That's a second yellow card.
No, that was Pedro Porro. That was Pedro Porro.
No, it was Romero.
That was Pedro Porro.
It was Romero as well.
He got a yellow. I didn't see Romero take off.
Sorry.
He took it off as well?
Yeah. What's the name as well? Ndogi.
Because Pedro Porro did get a yellow card. Pedro Porro did get a yellow card.
When he tripped himself up and he was lying on the floor, he was asking for a yellow card.
Yes.
That's your second yellow card, mate.
He wanted to say, yeah.
And the thing about it as well, it was a dive.
Yeah.
It's a yellow card anyway. And also
it was a dive.
It was a situation with VAR.
It was absolutely a dive.
The situation with VAR as well. I don't think VAR's broken either, by the way. I just think there's something fundamentally wrong with the people that are running it. No. That is a concerted effort to undermine Liverpool, and it's going to come out. It's going to come out. I'm telling you. So if you think about it like this, yeah, there's a rule in play.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on.
The referee. It wasn't a dive. Yeah. He tripped himself.
It was a dive. It was Asian Pops. It was a dive.
It was 2 steps after whatever contact there was with Jota, apparently. He made 2 strides before he fell over. Look at the replay, Pops. Just look at the replay. He makes 2 physical strides before he falls over. If you don't think that's a dive, then I don't know what. Because
I think you know what
Jota clips him. He falls over.
K-Mac and
so the thing I wanted to say as well is
Oh no, real quick. I was just gonna say I think that the second foul was a dive too. To be honest with you, I don't think he really made contact with him. If you look at that foul, I don't think he made real contact with them.
If you
But
if you
go
look
ahead.
at the build,
What was the point you were about to say?
if you look at the build up to the second
Mhm.
yellow card, Jota gets taken out on the touchline.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch it. It's like I think it's like 20, 30 seconds beforehand. Jota gets cleaned out on the touchline, and you know what
Yeah.
Jota's like. Jota's an impulse player, so because he didn't get the right decision, which he should have, which is another error. Funny enough, he then comes back on and just goes in for the tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole situation was exuberated by the fact that he was taken out on the touchline and he wasn't given a foul. So there's a rule in play with VAR that says you can't show the referee a still image of an incident. You have to
Oh
show
yes, I
the
know. You're
video.
right about that. You're absolutely right.
And that's why Liverpool appealed against
Mm-hmm.
the red card, because he showed him a still image of his foot on his foot. Like he should have showed the run up to the foul, which was Pap Sarr grabbing hold of Curtis Jones and knocking him off balance, and then he's having to stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to give the foul against Jota for nothing and the foul against Salah for nothing, then you're going to give the foul against Pep Sarr for knocking Curtis Jones off balance. That then sends him into the player.
Well,
like, the whole context and all of it
you
is
know
just it's so off.
Mm-hmm.
But the yellow
You
card
know
thing
what
just blew
too,
my mind.
No, you're right. I can understand that. I was going to say this too, though, and I commented on this because I saw, you know how they do the Sky Sports, they do the referee episode or something. I forget what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? Where they have they have one of the referees and he breaks it down and everything, and he tries to defend the referees as they always do. What was unique about it is they kept talking about VAR. Can I just slow it down for 1 second and say this? The fact that Diaz was onside by more than 2 feet, 62 centimeters, okay? Whatever unit of measure you want to use. The fact that he was onside by 62 centimeters and that the sideline official thought he was offside. Can't we for one moment say, what is that? How can you be a sideline official and not know the difference of 2 feet of being onside? That is right there. He should never even raise the flag.
If you look at the linesman's ahead of the play. So if he's ahead of the play, then it's going to look like Diaz is further forward because of the position he's in. But if you listen to the audio footage, what's the first thing Michael Oliver says? Have you heard it, Chris?
Yeah, I just heard it. I just listened to it while you guys.
He says goal. He says that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Goal.
Yeah, it was fast too. He said it like he.
That's what he says. Like straight away, he says goal. Okay.
I don't even think the lines were up. He said it was goal automatically. He was like goal.
Yeah,
that
was Michael Oliver.
They weren't.
He was the fourth official.
He's saying bring me to the 2D lines. But before he even said the 2D lines, he's like, oh, goal stands, goal given, And that's the thing about it is that like the fact that he was so quick to be like, oh yeah, no, that's good. Check, check complete. The fact that you heard them say they're checking for an offside. And then he says check complete. The fact that it went down as being, oh yeah, it's an offsides. It's field and the play stands. My part and point of why I was bringing up the whole 2 feet thing with the linesman is I get that you're ahead or it might be an angle. Guess what? That's you not being in the right position as a linesman. How are you that far in front of the line? And because you're supposed to keep the line. Wherever the linesman is, that's the line, basically. You don't have to run around the entire field. You're just running in a straight line up and back and forward, okay? And if you can't hold the line, then you're not being a linesman. That's where I got angry. It's can we focus on the fact that it was mistakes after mistakes at their mistakes, and all the compilation of these mistakes is FUBAR.
So,
You
so,
know,
Nigel just wrote it
that's
in
in
the
my
chat,
opinion.
like a replay should be taken,
so,
and
so,
and
to
the
touch
rules are
on,
there for a replay to happen. They're not there to chalk a goal on, but
yeah,
the
so
rules are there to
They're
take a
not.
replay. And I
No.
think Liverpool have every right to push for this. Every right to push for
It'd
this.
be very. This would be this would be very interesting if we got a replay out of this. I don't think that we will. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm just saying I don't think we will because it's such a slippery slope. But look, you know what? There's a difference too, and I'll say this too, and then Danger Angel definitely chime in. There is an ability to stop play. There was an ability to stop play. So, for instance, when you do a free kick, because it happened during the game, when you do a free kick, right? And let's say this is what they ended up getting, right? If the ball's not put in, like, so you know how sometimes players will push the ball up a little bit, or they'll try to find a blade of grass, that works well, and then the referee will say that's not the spot. The spot's back here. But the play could have been kicked. The play could have started, and he'll whistle, say no, bring the ball back, and restart. He could have
That's what
easily done
Clattenburg said.
something like
That's what
what's
Mark
that?
Clattenburg said on ESPN. Like, just blag it. Just blag it.
Yeah.
Just say, oh, it's in the wrong position. Come back.
It's in the wrong position. Yeah. Just make something. You screwed up, and I get that technically it's not in the rules to say this is a way to make up for a screw up, but this is the way to make up for a screw up. Asian Angel, you have something to say about this? You heard the video or the tape. I just heard it too.
So,
Tell me what your feelings, what you took from it.
so I'm a bit confused. Obviously, I think everyone's a bit confused, a bit flustered. So, based on what I know, right, you don't raise the flag unless you're absolutely sure.
Right.
Right? That's the rule, right? So, he was absolutely sure with 2 feet. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. The Jota one, to be honest, like, I'm not really sentimental about it. Like, at the end of the day, you're already on a yellow card, rightly so or not rightly so. Be smarter. It's really that, to me, is that simple. Like, you know, throughout the whole game, you haven't been getting the calls. You're on a yellow card. Don't do nothing silly. He did something silly, and we went down to 9 men. I'm not gonna sit there and argue with people about that. Like, that's just the way I think. Like, he should have done better. He should have been smarter. Like K-Max said, right? He's a hothead. You know what I mean? Like, when things don't go his way, like, he has to do better. So, was the first yellow card right? No, but it is what it is. And then the Jones one, I don't know, because I know now they went to appeal it, but the appeal got rejected, so he's gonna be banned for 3 games. So now this is the thing that I want to understand, and I want to know what's going to happen next, because right now, rightly so, Liverpool have the right to want more information, want some facts, and want to know why certain plays were called the way they were. But now you're like, if you're going to do this, you got to go to war now. It's too, like, you opened that door that didn't have to be open, which was challenging them. So now that you challenge them, you got to go all in. It's really that, like, to me, is that simple. Like, I would look at LFC different now if they don't go all the way in now. You open the door, okay, now go tear the place up. It's really that simple.
I think yeah. I was going to say real quick.
Yeah.
What'd you say? What was the last point you said?
The thing about it is the audio makes it worse.
It does.
Like you're releasing audio to alleviate the pressure. It's made it worse because Michael Oliver, who was the 4th official, who, by the way, should have been the referee anyway, but he wasn't, because Howard Webb let him go and get paid by Manchester City's owners to do UAE games, which I think is completely ridiculous. Like, basically helping the mates out to get extra pay, and that's just scandalous. You can't have mercenary referees. I'm sorry, you can't.
Very true.
And
Very true.
And Howard Webb needs to be accountable for that, 100%. And the reason why we didn't get the best referee in the country for the best game in the country, a 5:30 kickoff on Sky Sports on a Saturday night, is because he was too fatigued. Well, he's the guy that made all the right decisions in the background.
Yeah.
He's the one that's saying, stop the game. And they're saying we can't do it. And he's saying, stop the game. Like whether they said we can't do it anyway.
Oh,
like
Michael Oliver was saying that. Michael Oliver was saying that. That was Michael Oliver saying that?
Like I said,
okay.
It's Darren England.
I heard stop the game, yeah.
It's Darren England who is shouting, can't do it. I want to hear what he says all the way through the game. Because I'm sorry, this guy is corrupt.
That's what I'm saying too. Like I said earlier, right? Like VAR works. It's just the people that are in charge of it are incompetent. So I don't want to like get into the realm of saying, "Oh, we gotta axe VAR." No, like it's just the people in place. How they change that or what's the plan going forward? Like I said with LFC. Well, like I said with LFC, like LFC have to go all in now. Now at this point, now I know people and I.
What is all in? What is all in for you?
All in?
What is all in for you then?
So
people got to lose their jobs. In my opinion.
Sue for damages.
You know what I mean? Like
I agree. I've been saying what K-Mac's been saying. To be honest with you, Sue.
I went on Jerry James' show.
Yeah.
I went on Jerry James' show and I had this conversation about this match, and it was like, oh, it all levels itself out. Well, we lost the league 3 times and got taken away from being invincibles by 5 points. Let's just put that in perspective, because I don't think a lot of fans are putting that into perspective. 5 points away from winning 3 more titles and being invincible. That's how close the Premier League is against Manchester City. And if we'd have been given the goal, we'd have gone into that 1-0 up at half time. We'd have been a different side. We'd have been more tight, more compact. We might have even took an attacker off because we wouldn't have needed to, because we would have been leading. Okay? We then take that into the Brighton game. We get another 3 points. We've then got Man City in 3 games. So we've got a pivotal game against Man City where we're ahead of Man City in the league because they lost. And guess what? They lost before this game. Doesn't that sound fishy? The fact that they lost the game and the VAR and the referees knew they'd lost the game beforehand. And it was a case of, well, we've been in the UAE. Maybe we had some brown envelopes. Time to use them. But for me, we take that momentum into the Brighton game, and then we come back after the international break and we've got Man City. That's a case of going 5 points ahead of Man City. Like, people are just saying, oh, just take it on the chin. It'll all level itself out. This could be the difference between us winning the league and not. Again, it's so pivotal in the position that it was and the time that it was.
Yeah, like I said, like unfortunately, whether we like it or not, now we're not enemies of the PMO, whatever that thing is called. We're calling them out, and they're gonna get embarrassed. So how are the calls gonna be out for us going forward? People don't realize that. That's why I said earlier. It's like they opened the door that technically didn't have to be open, and now they opened it.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how the game's going to be called for Liverpool going forward? Are they going to be more lenient? Are they going to be more stricter? So it's just a weird thing. So I just don't know, man. I just don't know what's going to happen next. But it kind of is what it is. Like, sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. That's just sport. But yeah, like
I get not getting the calls, but we've had a whole season's worth of bad decisions in one game.
Yeah.
It doesn't level itself out that much.
That's why it's a bit hard to kind of like sit here as fans and not think that there's something against us. So I get.
No, it is. I get that. There was already that level already. That existed already for sure.
We've had four red cards in 7 games this season. We've had 16 in total under Klopp. Like as soon as that McAllister red card got rescinded, we knew they were coming after us. And look what happens. Look what happened. Errors, bad judgment, bad red cards, whatever you want to say. Like they got us back. We knew they were coming for us when they rescinded that card. We all sat there and thought, oh, you know what? They're going to try and send our players off now. They're going to try and get us back for basically sticking it to the man and getting that red card rescinded.
Yeah,
they won, and that's
then
why Liverpool should go all in.
And then in regards to like the replay and stuff, I just don't believe in the replay, man. Like, I don't know.
It's happened before. It happened in the first division when a ball went into the net against QPR. The ball went into the net and came back out, and it wasn't given. They replayed the game.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, this is what I was going to reference.
There's a legal rule which says it can be done.
Here's an example. Here's a great example here. Right. Here's a legal, because there is an article that I've read that deals with do we have a legal leg to stand on, basically. And basically what it is, by way of comparison, the example is Sheffield United in 2008 when the FA arbitration panel ruled the club had been relegated from the Premier League because West Ham United broke the rules when they signed Carlos Tevez. Now I get that this is not necessarily a game of play, but by a team breaking the rule and it impacting your club. Okay, now what we could say is that yes, this could have an impact. Now I don't know if we have to then wait until the end of the year to see how it ends up deeming out to be, but all the same, it could impact the difference of us either winning the league, could impact us in the sense of even making top four. Those differences are the differences in multi millions of dollars that our team would then obviously see. He went on to say Sheffield United were able to persuade a tribunal that statistically and as a matter of fact, Tevez was the difference between them staying up or going down. If you can get to that stage, you might potentially have a legal argument. But if it's a matter of human error by an official, then the basic default position would be, well, we just have to live with it. And that's something that I don't want to hear. I don't think any of us want to hear that. If anything, I think that this being a human error portion of it has more of a say to say, yes, there needs to be some type of not only radical change with the procedure and the protocols that they have to go through, but it also has to be, well, what do we make? Saying sorry does nothing for us. I hate when people say sorry. I always say, when you say sorry, the only person that's sorry is you. You're a sorry individual. Okay. So, I mean, like,
they haven't even
if
said
you don't
sorry.
have any means of making
they
haven't even
said
sorry.
sorry.
Right, correct.
They haven't even apologized yet. It's like Tuesday. We've only got the audio, and they haven't even apologized.
That's where I'm also conflicted, because if you've done nothing wrong, then just release the audio the same day. If you're being brought into question or you're being questioned, then what is there to hide? Just release it the same day. I never understood the notion of, okay, well, a couple of days later and stuff, like, nip it in the butt. You know what I mean? Like, just get it over with and release the audio. Like, it just makes it hard to not, like, start a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? So,
my question as well is, why isn't there any more audio? Why does it just end at that? Like, is there more conversation after that? Because I'm sure there probably is.
No, there's absolutely more conversation.
So what's the conversation?
You already
afterwards?
started to hear the beats.
The conversation afterwards. Michael Oliver literally bollocking all of them. Literally bollocking all of them. Just getting on and going. You're a bunch of useless. like that's probably the rest of the audio. Is the guy who should have been in charge of the game in the first place, literally bollocking all of them because they made a total cock up. Yeah. Because you can hear them swearing. And
you can hear. I must say, you can hear the beeps. You can hear
You know what? As well, I think people need to also listen to the previous footage, the one of Virgil van Dijk. It's absolute chaos. Absolute chaos.
Oh, for his red card?
All those egos in one room. Have you heard the footage of the Virgil van Dijk red card?
No.
No, I haven't heard that.
Oh, you want to hear that because that is a joke
I
as
need
well.
I need to hear that.
There's basically
It goes to show
referee-
you too. Yeah.
so the referee is saying it's a red card, it's a red card. Like the referee saying it's a red card. Like last man, red card, red card. And then you've got this voice over everybody shouting red card, Virgil van Dijk, send him off. And I'm like, who's this guy? Like he's got nothing to do with VAR because he's not checking
Who
for
was it?
anything. He's just shouting. And I'm like, who's that person? Like, and there's no transcript. It's literally the audio, and they did it on that show. But then you hear all the other games, and it's really calm, and they go into detail, and it's really methodical, and you think, like, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but everyone in that audio wants Virgil van Dijk sent off. Everybody wants him sent off, and there's one person going, I'm just checking. Like, let me check. And they're all going, red card. And you're like, they don't make themselves look good in
I wonder
this.
who that was. Did so they never distinguished who that was saying red card, red card.
There's a voice over everyone shouting red card, send him off.
I mean, maybe that was Joe Linton. I don't know. Maybe that was Joe Linton.
Maybe.
Probably.
maybe it was James Madison. Maybe it was James Madison reffing that game as well.
Yeah.
I just read as well that Michael Oliver is being offered a contract to go leave the league and referee in I think Saudi or something like that.
Oh, I bet.
I can bugger off.
I mean, it's not surprising that the SPL are stealing, or not stealing, but are taking away, a lot of the talent of the Premier League. Why not take the few talented referees that they have of the Premier League as well? But that's pathetic. I heard the video.
He is one of the better referees in the country, though. He is one of the better ones, Michael.
Yeah, he's not perfect. He has his flaws too.
Yeah.
Oliver's the best referee in the country by a country mile. He really is. Like
it's not saying much.
When I found out we were getting him for the Tottenham game, because he was originally the referee for our game, I was like, oh, that's great. That's a good referee. And then we ended up with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And he's also the same referee, by the way, who didn't give the penalty against Man United. Just saying. Same referee. Manchester agenda.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Hey, how about this? Here's a noble suggestion. Stop getting so many referees from Manchester and London, because that's primarily almost every referee that referees in the Premier League has a connection to being raised or born in Manchester or London. It's kind of crazy.
So
it's a very interesting concept.
The thing of that, right? If we like to consider ourselves the best league, right? And the best players, the best managers, and so on and so forth, we should be able to attract and pay for the best referees in the world.
It's a great concept, isn't it?
Why not? Why not?
It's on paper. That sounds amazing,
right?
Apparently,
so we sit here, right? We'll sit here and other leagues will sit there and complain. Oh my God, look at what they're doing in the Premier League. There's so much money in that league. Blah blah blah. TV rights and all that stuff. But they didn't want to put the goal line technology from the World Cup. They voted no for that. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man.
I've got something to tell you about that as well, which you probably need to do a bit of digging into, but I have. So all the media are talking about why we haven't got the automated AI, VR, the AI VR, which VAR, which they use for the World Cup, and they've said that all of the clubs voted against it.
Yeah,
that's not true. The PGMOL asked the clubs to vote against it because they didn't recommend it. Okay? And the reason why they didn't recommend it is because they didn't want to lose any jobs.
Yeah, let's say you can lose some jobs
out of the rooms. Guys, they're all mates. They're all looking after themselves. We know. Dermot Gallagher said it. Dermot Gallagher came out and said it. Loads of referees have turned around and said now in the past when they've left, they've been influenced. They've been told to give the decisions to the bigger teams.
So I
It's all out.
So I don't know how do you become a referee? I don't know about that stuff. I don't know. But how do like, let's say for example, like you can probably tell me, K-Mac, you probably know more about this stuff than I do. But how do, let's say, championship referees or League One referees get promoted to referee a game in the Premier League? Is that a thing?
They have like a points tally, so they get points.
Okay.
In how they referee games, and when you hit a certain quota, it's a bit like golf. You know, when they have like a handicap.
Mm-hmm.
If you get to a certain number, then you get recommended for the Premier League, and if you're good enough, then you go into it.
And I'm assuming they get a pay raise, no? Moving up in refereeing.
Referees are on like over 100,000 a year. Like they are like you know, this whole thing about they're not paid that much. Like I even looked into that as well, because I thought they were really underpaid, but they're not, because they get paid for reffing. They get paid for fourth official, assistant referee, fourth official, and also VAR, because the refs do VAR, and that's the problem. The referee shouldn't be doing VAR because it's a conflict of interest.
Thank you. I was about to say the same. I've been saying this for a while now.
It's a conflict of interest. If you make a mistake, you're going to help your mate out, and it's supposed to be an unbiased room, and it's not unbiased. Don't care, not unbiased. Like Howard Webb's come out with 14 apologies now. 14 since he's been in charge. Like, we didn't get an apology, by the way, but he's come out with 14, and that's 14 too many for me. 14 too many for me.
And this is like I said earlier, what's the next step? You know what I mean? What are Liverpool going to do? Like the, you know what I mean?
I've said this on Jerry James' show, and it kind of went off on a bit of a tyrant, like, because I didn't kind of talked about non-football as well. But it's gonna be down to Liverpool. It's going to be down to Liverpool, because Liverpool is its own island. It really is. Like, we are so isolated from the whole of the UK. The Royals hate us. The government hate us. You know, sporting institutions hate us. You know, we didn't sing the national anthem in our game. Sorry, we didn't say God. We didn't sing "God Save the King" in our football match, and it ended up in the House of Commons. Like, it's absolutely pathetic. But that's the way it is. And it's going to take a team that's just going to say enough is enough. And it looks like Liverpool are the ones that are going to do it. And it's probably Jurgen Klopp. I would say Jurgen Klopp is pushing for this a lot, you know. We need to give him kudos. Like, I reckon he's pushing for this a lot.
You know, and that's the thing, too. I like to joke around it, and 12 man knows and stuff. Americans like to sue, man.
They do. That's why I said.
Americans love to sue people, man, and our owners are Americans.
I think 30 million. I think 30 million is a good starting point.
You know,
I was saying like 60.
Two or three places. Two or three places at the end of the league.
Yeah.
The difference between Champions League and sixth. It really is.
I don't think the PGMOL. Unfortunately, we'd have to probably sue the PGMOL. And the PGMOL does not have, I don't think, $30 million.
They haven't got any money, so they haven't got a leg to stand on.
Yeah, they definitely don't have 30 million, much less 60. I would say I'm looking at 60 million, 65 million as a starting point. So yes, I did put in the chat. Yeah.
You know what though, as well, like, they really had a chance to kind of cool this down by rescinding Curtis Jones's red card. They could have cooled this down a lot.
That could have, but K-Mac, if they did that,
made it worse.
They would have said that. They would have said, "Oh, that's them trying to make up for the bad call. He deserved the red card, but they're now trying to make up for it, so that's why they're rescinding it." That would have been the conversation.
It might have helped them. But they've just made it worse.
It might have.
Because if you think there's a conspiracy theory now, then that's just made it even worse. And it looks like Alexis McAllister's going to get fined, and it also looks like the club's going to get fined because we got more than 5 players booked.
Yeah, so
Oh yeah,
So it's like
I agree with
quadruple jeopardy.
I agree with Brian right there. I really do. Like I said
yeah,
earlier, like like Liverpool opened the door that honestly it's too late now to close the door now. Unfortunately, you gotta take action now. I didn't want it to happen, but it is what it is now. You can't seem weak now. You're in a position of power now. You can't turn back now. You know what I mean? So I don't know what they're gonna do, what they plan to do, but it is what it is. And then we move on to the next game, which is when who do we play next in the Europa League, right?
We play Union, don't we, on Thursday?
Yep.
And that's the thing too. Like, and it's like you can see the difference, right, in refereeing, right? When there's Europa League or Champions League and our actual league, like it's a big difference. That we got to start snatching these referees from these different countries, man, and start paying them and stuff because it's great.
There was a segment where you can see the referee, like it looks like being told something, and it looks like he's about to, because it goes with what they're saying in the audio. It looks like he's about to blow the whistle to try to stop, but he's also hearing people say, "You can't do that." And it's done. We screwed up. It's done. Just keep it moving. And it's one of those things where you're just like, the sheer fact that referee is then still going to say, you know what, I'm still going to put on a howler of a performance and give some questionable, dodgy freaking calls that make you
all
go,
the way through.
Dog. Like, I understand. Some people are like, oh, you can't really do that. You can't really like it. How many times in whether it's so many different sports, but whether it's basketball, football, whether it's American football, how many times do you see calls be made, especially in basketball, where they're like, that's a makeup call. That's what they call it. It's called a makeup call because it's one of those calls where you're like, you got that horribly wrong. So yeah, this is like on the borderline of whether you should call or not, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because I shouldn't have given that earlier call. We did not get any makeup calls throughout this entire. We deserve a makeup match. I understand that, but we did not get any makeup calls at all. Because I'm looking at this. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just touch on what you just said about the fact that he was being told like something in his ear?
Yeah.
Like the whole stuff about them saying they can't bring the game back is a farce because they did it for Manchester United against Brighton.
Right.
The game ended and they took a penalty kick.
Right. Right.
So that's out the window. And then there was another incident which was on the same day against Everton and Luton where they waited 3 minutes. Like they waited 3 minutes. They brought it back and they waited 3 minutes while they checked the Calvert-Lewin goal. And in our own game, they brought the play back 4 times in the actual match that happened anyway. So for them to say they can't bring it back, it's absolute nonsense. And one more thing as well. One more thing, which I haven't even thought of. Did Son's goal get checked for offside? Because all of our team put their arm up. All of our team put their arm up. Virgil van Dijk and Ali both put their arm up. Did that get checked for offside?
I did not see it checked.
I don't know.
But it wasn't offside though.
But I'm okay. I get that. Neither was ours. But
true.
The point is, did it get checked?
I get you saying.
Did it get checked?
I think every goal. I thought every goal gets checked for offsides. I thought every goal, even if it's like obvious, they still.
Yeah, but you see it.
They still have to do a protocol.
No,
like you check
it wasn't on screen.
No,
it wasn't on screen. No,
it wasn't on screen. It wasn't.
Okay, there you go.
Look,
rest my case.
No, you're the fact that we're still arguing over it. I know. I get that a lot of people have gotten to a place in position where we just move on. I agree with Bange and Angel in that our owners being American and knowing the American tendency, suing is quite big. Like as in rather than get mad and try to get violent or physical, most Americans say, "Cool, you just got a lawsuit." So,
And that's
Have
the
FSG ever done it, Beijing? Have FSG ever done it for their other clubs, for the Red Sox and
I'm not sure, but
the basketball
if
team?
they
Have
know
they ever sued?
the thing with FSG, if they know if it's a winning battle, they're going all in.
yeah, that's
That's
why
the
their statement was so
that's honestly
broad.
that's the American way. Like it's all about money with us. To be honest, like
Yeah,
if there's money to be made, they're going to go all in. Like we might
it's
not
money.
agree with it. We might not agree
Can
with it, but that's their way. That's the way we operate. So
I have a question for you guys? Then, and to the chat too. If I were to tell you that there was 28 fouls called, you'd think that it must have been a really ugly, bang out match where you had two teams. It was like Atletico Madrid versus Atletico Madrid's B side or something. 28
Like a
fouls were
Millwall
called.
derby, like a Millwall London derby.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you would have to think, if I were to tell you that 11 yellow cards were brandished, 11 yellow cards, and obviously 2 red cards, you would think that must have been an absolute brawl. You would have thought that maybe Leeds was playing Manchester United or something. Like it would be on some level where you would just have to say, oh, wow, that must have been a. But yet, if you watch the game, the way that the referee refereed the game and made it so obviously, in my opinion, so overly sensitive towards allowing for him to be influenced on giving cards, allowing for him to be influenced on not really taking assistance, is almost to the point. And this is what I thought. Some people, when they're shown up or when they get something wrong, rather than again do the whole makeup call, rather than hold your hand up and say, I messed up, let me just get better and be better at what I got to do forward. It's almost as if he said, you know what, I'm going to double down. That's what it felt like. I don't know if it felt like that for you, but it felt like, you know what, I'm getting these calls wrong. You know what, I'm just going to double down on these bad calls. And despite the fact, because you realize that he gave a yellow to Virgil for time wasting. Okay, I don't understand that one. He gave what else did he do too? He gave a yellow for time wasting. Salah for arguing. Yeah, that was pathetic. Because one, Salah didn't foul him. Two,
about that? Do
you
want to know a backstory about that?
What?
Have a look at the linesman. Have a look at his name and type it into Google. That linesman and Salah, they've got previous twice. They've got previous. They've had run-ins before, the same linesman with Salah.
Wow.
Honestly, every single thing makes sense for me. It's like they literally threw every single wanker at Liverpool in that match. Like, just stick them all in. Stick them all on the pitch. Stick them all in the office. Liverpool ain't getting anything out of this one. We will do everything we can. And Liverpool nearly got away with it.
The thing too, I think, like, obviously I don't want to make it all about like American suing and American sport, but the thing with American sport as well, you're able to challenge the referees. Like, you can, like, if you don't like there's in basketball, there's in football, right? 12 man, you can challenge, like, okay,
two challenges per game.
Yeah, 2 challenges and stuff. And obviously, if the challenge when they
you get more than actually more than that. You get 2 challenges. I'll let you finish, but you get 2 challenges. But if you're right on your 2 challenges, you get an additional challenge.
Exactly.
Don't they throw
you don't get penalized.
Onto the pitch?
Like a flag?
Don't they throw like a flag onto the pitch or something?
Yeah, for American football, they do.
Yeah.
But for basketball, they hit like they click a button and it means that they're challenging the call.
And it stops the time. And
right.
Yeah.
It'd be hilarious though. Klopp would have used his in like 5 minutes.
in between 5 minutes time span, yeah.
He'd have like used both his challenges.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I don't know.
It's like, Jürgen, it's only 5 minutes gone. You're not getting this, are you?
Yeah, so yeah, man, it's just sad
like a big bullshit button.
yeah,
Bullshit.
yeah. It's a tough thing to like take, to be honest. But we have to like move forward, man, and just keep
Yeah, no, I
winning.
get that. I get that.
Just keep winning, and like and
I get
just
that. I get that.
you know what I mean.
No,
So
no. So there was a question here. It
I've got to
says,
jump,
"What's the
guys.
difference
Okay.
financially?"
I've got to jump, guys.
Okay,
Big up, all right. Great show, man.
big up, K Mac. Thank you for hopping on. They asked, what's the difference
By
financially?
the way, I will say something. We were fucking brilliant. We were sensational from start to finish. By the way, big up the Reds.
Yeah, big up the Reds for sure. Big up. So they're saying, let's just bring this to this here. They were saying here, what's the difference between winning and coming runner-up in the Premier League? That's from Nigel asking that question. Okay, so basically,
don't you want like 250 or something like that for winning?
well, okay, so the reward for finishing as the Premier League champions is estimated to be 44 to 54 million from just the Premier League. So you make anywhere from 44 to 54 million, or 44 million, pounds. 44 million pounds. That's like $54 million, but 44 million pounds. Okay, so you win 44 million pounds for just winning it from the Premier League, but you also get sponsorship bonuses, you get TV money, you get other payments, from other different entities, your other sponsors and that such, so I'm sure like Nike gives you an extra bonus kicker in there or something like that, because you won. By winning the Premier League, you get this more notoriety for the team and their brands. So it ends up being around 150 million take home pound, 150 million pounds for a Premier League team if you win the league. If you come in second, obviously you don't get that 44 million, you don't get all the bonuses, but you still get a healthy amount of money. I'll tell you 1 second. It is considerable. And give me one.
No, but just imagine, right? Like, let's just imagine how good that money was for like Leicester City when they won the league.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, like all that revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because it does make a huge difference in how much you actually make when it comes down to being able to make differences in your squad, being able to make differences in your stadium, make differences in whatever the financial is going to be. But let's see. That's how much the Premier League. I'm looking for how much does a team get, or how much do they make? And it's quite a bit. It's not going to be obviously 150 million pounds, but I know that it is quite a bit, because it's basically, there's like a pool. It's very similar to other leagues, whereas there's a pool of money, and each team gets a share of that pool of money from the sponsors, like as in whatever, Sky Sports or NBC or whoever's, all the money that's coming in for the rights, they get a percentage. So it is a considerable difference in what it is. Let's see what else. A couple more, because we only got like 5. I'm only gonna be on for like two more minutes. Let's see. Red Bird saying, I watch games on mute because the commentators always go with the refs' decisions and run narratives. I want my own thought process to make judgments, so as don't trust others to be objective. And that's understandable. It's a good point. Because a lot of times what you'll hear too, which is very interesting, Beijing Angel, you said something about how you think that maybe they doctored or edited the actual audio, which I did hear. What you will hear is those guys, whether it's Jamie, whether it was Neville, whoever was on the game, the commentators that are listening to the game, they have a direct link as to hear what the referee is saying to the VAR and vice versa. So they're hearing the entire conversation. That's why they, sometimes you'll see these guys, and you'll be like, well, how do they know it's a goal before, or how do they know they're going to give a foul, or a penalty before the decision's even made? Like, you haven't even shown a replay for it, And the reason why is because they can hear what the dialogue is going on between VAR and the officials. So they have a leg up. What's very interesting, and which is sad too, is that I heard Neville was very intimate about saying he listens to what they heard. He heard their whole conversation, and he was trying to give little hints and tidbits of what was being, what was being said. He didn't really give a word by word, breakdown, but he was saying how they knew they had gotten it wrong and everything else. Now Neville's going as far as to backtrack. I'm hearing, and he's starting to backtrack.
I heard it too. He's a clown. I mean to be rude, but he's a clown. Like, one person that surprised me that's in the YouTube scene, that Manchester United fan, Mark Gorbridge or something like that. Nah, he's a sound dude, man. Like, it's good to see when there's a level of unity in the fan base, like in football. Because I know obviously it's hard to kind of support another club. It's hard to kind of be on the same page with the other club. But it's good to see when there's an issue and we all unite and we want change. It's a beautiful thing to see. And if you hear Mark Gorbridge's take about the whole thing, he said it honestly, good for Liverpool. They enough is enough type thing, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I think there's something I spoke with Pops the other day is for teams like Luton, for teams like, let's say, for example, Everton or Burnley that are fighting for their lives right now to stay up.
Yeah.
They need the right calls, man. A wrong call can get them relegated and they will never come back to the Premier League again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the reason why I brought up that example too, is because that happened. That literally happened. The team broke a rule by being able to bring in Tevez to play, and by doing that, it resulted in them by the team that cheated staying up in the league and the other team being relegated. Now, we're not going to have to face relegation, but it could be the difference between just as we were pointing out, 150 some odd million pounds, is a huge difference in what you're actually making, and it makes a huge difference. I can tell you too here. It looks like we have a breakdown of what each team made. So, Manchester City in 2022-2023, Manchester City made 161.3 million pounds by winning the league. By being second, it was 159.8 million is what Arsenal made. By being third, 152.1 million for Manchester United, 151.7 million pounds for Newcastle in fourth. Liverpool in fifth still made 151.6 million. So it's about 10 million pound difference between what we made and what City made. Villa in seventh made 142. Brighton made 150, Villa made 142. Tottenham made $134 million last year. And then you start to see the gap increase all the way down to even Southampton made 100 million pounds last year. They, despite being 20th in the league, they still made over 100 million pounds. Leeds made 104, Leicester made 106, Everton 113. So it's quite a bit of a difference when it comes to first and last. 10 million difference, obviously, between first and fifth. And there's a difference between of about 2 million, I'd say. So they made about 160 million. They made 1.6. So about a million, million and a half difference between first and second. So it doesn't seem that big of a gap, but still, it makes a difference.
It helps. It helps, man.
Every little bit helps. I mean, every little bit helps. And the fact that I still can't get over the fact that it is what it is. I'm at a point where I don't. It pained me enough to watch the match over, knowing the result. It pained me to see this guy right here over what is my left shoulder, but what looks like my right shoulder here. It pained me to see Cody Hackbo get fouled. People fouled before he scored that goal. He got fouled. He picked himself up, continued to push forward, got in position, received a great header from VVD to be able to trap it, turn, and fire it into the goal, and then go down, obviously, after having a twisted knee. And what I'm being told is going to be 3, maybe 4 weeks worth or 4 weeks worth of downtime for him to deal with that. You can obviously tell me better, Bajan.
What? Nah, I've been kind of like staying away from like news and stuff. I've been working a lot, so he's out for 3 weeks with what type of knee injury?
So he had a strained knee, they called it.
A strained knee.
Yeah, a strained knee. Right.
I love when they do that. I love when they do that. Oh, strained knee, strained ankle, strained toe. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Just tell me the injury. Okay. Well, if it's 3 weeks on the
Well,
knee,
3 games. He's going to miss 2 games and an international break.
okay. So if it's 3 weeks,
I guess, yeah.
the thing the thing with the knee is like, if he twisted his knee, he could have damaged a ligament. Could have, but then 3 weeks is too soon for a return from a damaged ligament.
Apparently, did not, and they said he did not damage any ligaments. That's what they said.
Okay, so it's good. So,
Right.
I have to do my research then.
They said, okay, here I'll tell you. I'll read it for you. It says blah 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 blah. After netting the equalizer, according to Sport Witness, that's an outlet. Insiders have indicated that nothing is broken, and following initial reports of Hackbo being ruled out for up to 6 weeks, that has since been downgraded to at least until after the upcoming international break. The latest report offers some hope that the 24-year-old might be able to return to Liverpool in the Merseyside derby against Everton on October 21st, our first fixture after the upcoming internationals.
So when you said 6 weeks is concerning, because 6 weeks typically with a knee issue, typically it can be a grade 3 meniscus tear or 6 weeks, but they brought it down to 3 weeks. So I'm assuming it's not a tear.
It's not I know they definitely didn't tear anything. There's nothing that needs surgery. There's nothing there's no like anything like that. That's why I think it was just like a strained knee.
A strained knee. Was he on a brace?
He went out when they initially left. He left in a knee brace, but that was under precautions because they didn't know what had happened. And then the test results ended up being that it was okay, or that he was okay.
Do you know when he twisted? Like, because I remember seeing because I was that day I was picking up my wife from work, so I couldn't really see the game on my phone like that. Do you remember what direction the knee twisted? Was it like inwards or outwards?
So I didn't. So you'd have to go back to the foul. So the foul on him is what gave him the injury. I think
because I remember people were saying
Udogie's the guy who fouled him. That's why a lot of people are getting up. I mean, the racial BS and all that crap, that's unnecessary. That's stupid. And,
but I don't
on
12 man. I don't think. I think the injury you're talking about is when they hit him in the ankle, right? Is that what you're talking about with Udogie?
Yes, he went when he made the first signal that he got hurt or got fouled hard. He looked like he went for his ankle. He didn't grab his knee. He grabbed his ankle.
Exactly. So I don't think he got injured there. I think because I'm starting to remember now. It was when he scored and he landed.
Right.
I think that's where
but
the
couldn't
damage
it be
happened.
because of that? That's because the ankle
I will
then
have to
doesn't
see the
have
injury. I will have to
the
see the.
strength.
I will have to see the play again to be honest. To like tell you,
Okay.
but to be honest, if it's just 3 weeks, if it's just on the notion of 3 weeks, he could have just sprained like the tibia or the femur. To be honest, like
Mhm.
that's not bad. If they pu- if they if they put him straight into a knee brace, then yes. The thing is that too. Also, you can tear a ligament, but not a full tear, like a partial tear, and still be back in 3 weeks as well.
Uh-huh.
Um, but we'll have to wait to see until we get more information. Did he already get scans and everything already,
He
or
got scanned. Yeah, they said that this is after they did the actual they initially put him in a knee brace because they were scared, they didn't because when he got up, he tried to run it off. Like as and you can see him on the
that's that's
sideline.
that's the worst thing,
I'm
man.
not saying that's anything, right? I'm just
That's
saying
the
that means
worst thing.
anything.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked like he wanted to continue. And that's why it was very interesting to see that, he was in a knee brace later on, considering that he was or that he was just on the sideline trying, that he won. He got, so they said that he got the injury from the Udogi tackle. He then got
Mhm.
up, muscled himself into a position, fought through the pain, got into position. VVD got him a header, and he was able to trap it, turn, pivot, and possibly and this is what I'm thinking possibly is that because of the ankle injury and not having the ability to have really put weight and put the proper balance of weight onto that leg when doing the pivot, it then put strain on the knee and then he kicked the ball. And unfortunately, when he kicked the ball too, it was the leg that he had injured before that. By him kicking the ball, then it I don't know if it popped it out or maybe it was just too much stress on the ligaments. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's what they were saying is that it ended up being good news in that it's not any tears, bad news, anything like that. That's at
Um,
least what it's saying. I'm
I
listening.
think I think also that people don't realize too. The purpose of a knee brace is to keep your knee in place,
Right.
to give it
Right.
some type of stability. So it could be. I understand when certain fans could be concerned, but then um, I don't know. I will have to actually know what exactly his injury is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing too. Like where I work too is very like bougie. Like the technology is very
Mm-hmm.
like high class. So we will have him back like in a week or two, to be honest. So we do a lot of stem cell treatment at my work, so he'll be good. And stuff. But the good thing is that they put a knee brace on him. He was walking around, so that's good.
Yeah, they're not. I'm seeing some reports are saying they're not giving exactly what the injury per se is. Some are saying, like I said, some are saying it was a strained knee. Some are saying that they haven't received any information. Um, he says it was the biggest problem of the game, to be honest. Before Cody scored, we got a free kick, and he got injured, and so we got a free kick, and he got injured, and he is now with a brace limping down the corridor. Klopp said in his post-match. So yeah, he's saying that Klopp is saying that he got the injury before, like because when he got the free kick, that's when he got the injury. Um, yeah, and he said something about to deal with it and everything else. Um, it's horrible. It's horrible that again these injuries are horrible to have to deal with in general when they're hamstring injuries or whatever. It's also horrible when they're injuries that aren't flagged. They're not properly like addressed by the referee because like these players aren't getting that wasn't an injury from him just running. That was an injury from him getting tackled by Udogi, who was already on a yellow card. You know, like as in those are reasons why this game's the way I you can never have this referee or any referee associated with this game referee a Liverpool game again. Can't be done. There's no way that whenever that referee squad or any member of that referee squad get onto a pitch, that there's not going to be someone saying, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Wait, I have a question too, because obviously in the States things are done differently, right? Is the PGMOL, is that a union? Because if it's a union, it's a different ball game. Because
they're not a union.
You can't just fire someone on a union.
Yeah, I don't think they're a union. The L means limited.
Okay, because if it's a union-based job, like it's kind of hard to kick someone out and stuff. Like typically, you know how it is in the States. Once you get a union job, you're good. You're set pretty much because they'll take care of you, benefits, and all that stuff. So
I think it's more like they're not a part of a union, but because it's a limited. And again, I don't live in the UK, so I'm not positive on that. But I think the limited is like similar to like our limited liability corporation. So
okay.
So it's like, that's why it's like limited in that they're a part, like if they're an incorporated group. They're not necessarily a union. However, if it was a union, the union rules that would have made it ugly.
Them union lawyers are different. They're different animals. Them union lawyers. Like
yeah. So I'd love to. I don't know what it's gonna mean for the PGMOL going forward, but I also know that I get sick and tired of these apologies. I get sick and tired of hearing apologies. I know that you're a military background. I come from a military family, like as in saying sorry and apologies doesn't get you anywhere in my household.
Not even in my own house with my wife. That doesn't get me anywhere.
Exactly.
Like it's like and that's the thing people don't know is like when you start throwing the word away, it starts losing its value.
Exactly. Yes.
Like my kids will be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Stop saying it and just do better." Like
just do better.
Eventually, the sorry it loses its value. Like. So, and that's the thing too, right? If you're genuinely sorry, it won't happen again. But it keeps happening, and that's where the word loses its value.
Yeah, and it does lose complete value. What's valuable too is the fact of this realism.
Sorry to cut you off, but Brian just said it's a union. The PMOL is a union.
Okay, so they are a union. Okay. If they are a union, and that does make a whole different story then.
Oh, exactly. It makes a whole different. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. I didn't know that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. That does make a whole different story because, like, I'm looking at what I understand what it stands for. I know it stands for the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, but let me see what it is. So I guess it is trying to see what the classification of, if it ends up being a union, how that's going to make a difference. Because if it's a union, then if it's a union, though, it goes to show you like why they stick up for each other the way they do and why they end up never really giving anything. That's the one thing. Jean said it right here. She goes, that's the thing with the UK. If they tell you sorry, that should be enough. More time. It's never more time than it's never enough.
Nah, I don't know. Like in the States, it's just different. I'm sorry. We just greedy people. Like we love to sue people for any little thing.
We'll make it hurt in your pockets. We'll make it hurt in your pockets.
Exactly. And we'll prolong the case for years and you'll have no money. Like
Yep.
You looked at me wrong.
You'll have to pay for our lawyer. You'll have to pay for our lawyers.
Exactly.
We'll win the case, and the case will be. And once you win the case, the lawyers that I hired, you'll have to pay for.
If you win,
because if you win, that's how it goes down. That's how crazy
different.
It is.
We're different. It's the biggest scam, right? 12 man is the biggest scam.
Yeah, I know.
The biggest scam. Oh. You looked at me wrong. I'm suing you. What?
Yep.
And I'll win. That's crazy.
Yep. So yeah. The one thing that super hurts too is that you're talking about this earlier. You referenced it. I didn't really read all of the transcript for this one, but Jones's appeal, I guess, is finalized now. They finalized the appeal, or they gave a decision on the appeal. Did you read anything about that too?
No. What was the?
No.
What was it?
So we appealed the decision for Jones's red card, and similar to what we did for McAllister, and we were unsuccessful. Apparently, they denied us. They denied us the appeal. This is why I go bun the PGMOL. They had an opportunity to make things right. They had an opportunity to say, you know what? Yeah, you really could possibly see. I could kind of see what you have to say. You know, there's a reference of being the fact that this was decided over a still image. It wasn't given. You didn't even go through the proper protocol of trying to evaluate the foul, and your opinion was biased. All these different things. It's crazy, but yeah, Jones is now going to be out for 3 games, and Hata's going to be out for 1 game. There is no appeal process if, despite that it's a red card, there is no appeal process. This is how stupid it is for the process and the protocols they utilize. There is no appeal process for 2 yellows to a red. You can appeal a red card, but you can't appeal 2 yellows to a red. Despite it's a red card for you, you can't appeal those cards. You can't appeal it. So 1 game definitely for Hata, 3 games definitely for Jones. I wouldn't be surprised. I thought that normally when you appeal something, you can jeopardize it going from 3 games to 4 games. To be honest with you, so that'd be interesting. I'm gonna throw up some of these last things before we bounce out of here. You sue me, I sue you. George Harrison wrote a song about it. Yeah, for sure, Nigel. I love also big up to Nigel. I love the fact that you have boba. Boba is one of my favorite drinks for sure. Brian Morrissey says, my brother-in-law got sued in New York when he sold his company. He won, but still had to pay his own lawyers. Crazy BS. BS case too. Yeah, man.
And especially New York too. No joke. I think New York too is a state that, like, I'm from New York as well. Like, man, we love to scam and we like our money, man.
Hey, look, do you know what? Right now, Donald Trump's getting sued for basically inflating his property value, like saying his property was X amount when it was really Y amount, and then and doing that when it came to taxes, all of a sudden he had high value, but when it came to or doing taxes, he had low value or high value, whichever way it went. And then when it came to dealing it with his insurance, it was like a different amount, so it's one of those things where it's like, hey man, now he's getting sued for $250 million. That's a lot of money.
That's the thing too about stuff. Like, I'm not even mad at like finding like go like in life, right? There's loopholes. Exploit them. They're there to be exploited. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, I know it sounds crazy to say, but there's loopholes. You got to exploit it. You have to you just got to do it. It's there to be exploited. And that's why, like, the whole, Chelsea thing doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Them spending a lot of money? You mean?
It doesn't. Like, they exploited something. Obviously, they're changing the rules for it now, but...
Oh, I get what you're saying. Bun the Blues, too.
Come on, Top, man. Where's the positivity, man? Calma.
The positivity. Yeah, man. Positivity's been on like low battery for like
you gotta charge up, man.
Yeah, low battery settings for sure.
I'm honestly talking about, like, I know this sounds like negative, but it's like I'm kind of with the whole like just like let it go type thing, and it's just like okay, the world's against us. That's life, right? That's life, right? Like, the world's gonna be against you, especially like how K-Mac explained it, right? Liverpool's a city that's like isolated. They're against the government. Like, they're just viewed as rebel. We're viewed as rebels, right? That's
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we just have to freaking play better and just like and just do what we have to do, and that's it. Like, bun the referees. Oh, that's sideline. That's actually a good comparison, to be honest. That's a good comparison. That's real good. And we just gotta do better, man. Like I think we played. I watched the game again. I think we played incredibly well for like the odds being against us, and
Yeah.
it just showed me, because you know me, I was very negative last season,
Hmm.
but it just showed that we still had fight in us. There was still character. Like
Yep.
Mo Salah to me, like last game showed me he got some dog in him, man. He was running like
Yeah.
a hellish. He was running like a hellish chicken. He was tracking back. He was doing things I've never seen him do, and that
Yeah.
we're gonna be all right this season, in my opinion. Like, we're gonna be all right.
I
We're
think
gonna
they're
be all
taking
right.
it personally. They're taking
Yeah,
it
yo,
personally. You
and
need to.
we gotta ride that wave, man, and see what happens. You know.
Yeah. No. It's Brian's is saying you're spot on. He says take this and
Yeah,
use it as motivation. I agree. I've been
yeah.
saying it from the very beginning. Hey, man,
You know,
it's
Topman
us
too.
against the world.
Yeah,
It's us
exactly.
against the world, man.
Yeah.
It has to, you have to keep that mindset. That's why, like, I don't want to say. Wait, is this one?
Hey, man, I'm trying to sideline. I'm trying to sideline. Yo, you know what? Well, what was it? I think it was on Beijing's on TV. We were doing the rating show. We were rating each other. You know what rating he gave
You're
me? He
right.
gave me a 4 for my negativity and stuff. He gave me a 4. Nah, but like, yeah, man, we just gotta, like, it is what it is. Like, I think the season, right? And you can attest to this, tough man. Like, our attacking option is incredible. Like, our rotation in regards to our attacking players is great.
Yes,
I think we just need
absolutely.
to be. I think like we just have to be more clinical, man. Some of the decision making up top has been kind of like weird to me this season. But if we
Mhm.
score the goals that I think we could score, referees can't do nothing. What they gonna
Right,
do? What they gonna do?
right.
We just gotta do our part.
Pretend they're gonna pretend they're gonna make offside calls that aren't offsides. they're
But
gonna
then, but
call
then,
they're gonna call they're gonna call an offside call on us that's 2 feet onside. Come
yeah,
on,
but
dude. Two
no, but
feet,
that,
2 feet, 2 feet.
yeah,
That's like a small that's if a small child laid down. You know what I mean?
literally, literally, yeah, man. But
You still have room to freaking get that in, get the pass in there, and be
yeah,
on
that's crazy.
side. Oh my
That's
goodness!
crazy.
It and it hurts. You know why? Because it takes away an amazing goal by Diaz. Absolutely amazing goal. The fact that he's fending off one player, the ability to put it in such an angle that he's able to hit the far corner with the goal. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, it's got to be something of a travesty, the least bit of a travesty to see that not be credited, because I think Diaz has been playing something that I said, we spoke on this personally, because I know we have a definite connection, or at least this supportive chapter for Diaz. And I think Diaz has picked up his defensive mindset. I think Diaz has really gone to another level. And I only have like 1 or 2 minutes left here, but I think Diaz has gone to another level with his persistence and his ability to effectively press. I didn't think Diaz was that great of a defender before this, but
He
this
is, man.
year I think he has definitely picked up his game to be at least a formidable option when it comes to having that pressure come from the left wing. What do you
Mm.
think?
Um, I have a lot of love for Diaz. Like, he's a countryman. Um, I think so. He's done better defensively. I wouldn't say exceptional or anything, but he has picked up a trait that will help us. He isn't no Mane in regards to defensive work, just to say that. But I think what was irking me about Diaz is the fact of his decision making in the final third. That like kind of driving me crazy and stuff. But
Mhm.
but we'll see. Like I still have hope for him. Um, but I think he adds something different to our front three that we never really had before.
Mhm.
But just like I just it's just the decision making for me for Diaz and stuff. Sometimes it's just like, what are you doing,
I'm
man?
gonna
Come on, man. Like,
I'm
come
gonna
on.
say I'm gonna ask you as for your Colombian brethren, and I'll say my Colombian brethren too,
Of
right?
course.
I would say look at some of the games that he actually got to play in, and we weren't obviously in 10 men, obviously, which is like now considering as like what half the games we've been
So
in, we
what?
played in at least 10
It's
men.
like 3 games, right? 10 men,
Yeah,
right? Three
yeah,
games, right? That's
yeah.
crazy.
That's crazy. But I was going to suggest if you do look at some of the games that he's played in at the left wing, just look at the work rate and the amount of tracking back and the fact that he has pace. It was just a matter of being able to properly access that pace to be able to cut down spaces, to be able to track back, be able to press, and be able to have the ability to not only retrieve the ball, but turn and progress with the ball forward. It's
Hmm.
something that I think you will notice a difference in. That's the reason why I've been giving him more credit for his the defense, because it wasn't like he's just running with his with a chicken with his head cut off type, as they say,
Headless
which
chicken.
is what like a headless chicken. Yeah, and that's kind of what we saw when we saw with Darwin. It's a progression from that. I mean, he did
No,
have
to me. Sorry
defensive
to cut
rate.
you off, but to me, Darwin has completely. I'm watching him evolve in my eyes, and it's so
Mhm.
good. It's so good to
Yeah,
see. To be honest, like to
right.
see the fan base like growing to him, and just to see his development. Like he's a completely different player he was to last season, and I
Mhm.
love it. I just need to see that a bit more from Diaz, in my opinion.
I get what you're saying. I get what
But
you're saying.
I'm just being a harsh critic as a countryman. I want him to do
Yeah,
well for Liverpool. I want him to do well for Colombia because we on that side we're just horrible. So I just want us to do better
right. No, I
overall.
think he's. I think if you, I know that you're being critical and being like maybe a little overly critical because you want to see perfection, or you want to see as close to perfection as possible. But I think that you're going to be surprised. I think that Diaz brings a really consistent has been bringing a really consistent level of defensive pressure, and he's in tune. I think when he initially came here, it was going to take a while for that front line to understand how to play properly with this proper spacing between them, and
Mhm.
be able to press effectively with the way that they do it, being able to change positions and utilize, be able to cover each other in different positions. I think it was a big difference once he got that year underneath them. The injury hurt. The injury from freaking
Progression. It
hard
stopped his
contact.
progression in a way.
What's that?
His progression, like it kind of halted.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely halted it. It definitely put it on pause. And I think that's why I'm saying him coming back, I think he knew that he wasn't going to be just running around doing what he wanted to do as a free mercenary, wasn't going to be possible in the fact that for us to be effective, it's going to take him breaking down space, being able to utilize his partners, Robertson, whether it's or Nunez or whoever, Kakpo, whoever it is, he's utilizing, or Jones, whoever he's utilizing as being his press partner, and he's done that. He's done an exceptional job. I think I really love the progression I've seen in his game under that precinct, because I always thought that he was a great. I know that people get on his final third and about I've seen the Coppish guys or Matt get on him about that. I'm hearing you
Oh,
say the
don't worry,
same.
don't worry.
So
They're gonna stop talking about him. I'm sending his squad over there.
yeah,
They get
exactly.
scared away.
I've been
They get
warning
scared.
them. I've been warning them, but but yeah, I think that one unique thing about that press when it comes to his final third is like, look, there's a reason why I think he was for Copa he was the leading goal scorer, for or last year, I mean, and his team didn't even make it to the finals. Okay, I mean, it goes. I know.
That's so
I
hard.
didn't want to rub. That's not salt.
Come on,
That's not
come on,
salt.
tough
I
man. Come
know.
on,
It's
tough
too
man. Come
soon.
on.
That's too soon.
It's too soon, man. Too
I got
soon.
you. I got you.
Nah,
I
but
got you.
I completely agree, man. Like, I'm trying to be like more like positive. I'm trying to be back with the team. It's just sometimes like with him, especially, it's like, like that's not what you do. Stop. Like, don't do that. Like, take the. It's
I
like
mean,
this
like
like you know
he's
when you
saying,
like
Brian here is saying the same. He's saying decision making and product not there
yeah.
yet. He's saying that's basically what you're saying. His decision making and end product's not there yet.
No.
You know, he had
To me, like,
two
to me,
goals.
it's
He
not.
had one goal taken away falsely. He had nearly yeah. To you, what? Go ahead.
No, but the thing with him, right, is like,
Go ahead, Chris. No, okay.
the thing with him is that I don't think the issue is the end product, right? I think it's just the decision making for me. It's the decision making for
Yes,
me,
yes, yes.
and I've said it too. I've said it plenty of times. I don't think he's a goal scoring winger. He is a creative winger.
What do you think he is then?
He's a creative winger.
Creative winger, okay.
He's supposed to me. He's supposed to be bagging on like 10 plus assists a season on a normal basis. That's the player.
Okay, so when you say creative, and let's just spend a little bit of time on this because I'm interested to hear what your take is real quick. When you say creative winger, you're saying that he is a facilitator, or he's a creative winger, as in like he's just like he'll create openings for other people, but not necessarily be the person that's giving assists.
It will be both. It will be both. So he will create space for others, and then he will provide the assist, for example, and then he'll have the odd goal here and there, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You'll have the breakdown of what now?
Oh, you hear me? Oh, so I said that. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you now. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, like I said, like it's kind of like both, right? So it's him providing the assist, and then him, creating the space as well. And then, like I said in the beginning of the season, I think he's going to provide 10 plus assists this season, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, 10 assists, 10 goals, 10 assists, basically, you think? 20 GA?
Okay, so I would say like throughout all the competitions, I'll say he'll have 10 plus goals, but I think in the Prem, he'll have like 10 assists, in my opinion, like 10 plus assists in the Prem alone.
So 10 assists just in the Prem,
just in the Prem, yeah,
including all the comps.
Yeah,
got you. Yeah, I could see that happening. I look at it as Diaz, what you're saying. I see him as someone that can create on his own through his dribbling ability, on his pace, his ability to create space to be able to take shots. I think we've seen that, especially with them cutting from left to right. There's even been times where I've seen him on the right, going from filling in on Salah's position and being able to get the ball, possibly to go from right to left. I'm not sure if he has. I haven't really seen much of his left foot when it comes to taking shots. He's predominantly more of a right-footed shooter.
Yeah, he's not left-footed.
I think at all. Okay, but like when it comes to him though, hey, we almost saw he was inches away from putting in that Salah cross that somehow just squeaked by him, and then the other one that he made was another good approach, but. That's another episode, another time.
No,
I'd love to have you on.
No, but Topman, before we go, okay. how much goals and assists for the Premier League alone would you think it will be a good season for him, following his knee injury from last season?
Ooh, that's a really good question. How many do I think? How many? Because it's tough because so far we had him we didn't have him for a full year. The first time, right? So when he joined, we didn't have him for a full year because we acquired him in January, right?
In January. Mm-hmm.
Then the next year, we didn't have him for a full year because of the injury, right? Then we got him back. We didn't have him for a full year because of the injury. we didn't get him for another full year. So he hasn't really had one full year,
No.
whether it's been because of transfer or because of injury. Do you know how many goals was he scoring in Portugal? Do you know how many goals he was putting up?
He was averaging on average was like 12 goals, but I think the most that season he scored was 16.
Okay.
It was a good exceptional, but it's at the end of the day as well. It's in Portugal, so you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Brian's saying the truth. Like Mane, by having Mane, it spoiled us for certain. And I mean, it set such a precedent and an unfortunate and unnecessary, I think, comparison and bar to utilize when you say, oh, when we're trying to compare us, because they're two different left wingers. They're not.
Exactly.
One's an inside forward, the other one's a left winger, like more of a traditional. He's saying in the league 15 GA. I'm saying. With us, if we're going to utilize Nunez as an outright 9, I could see him being able to get some GA from that link up the same way that we're seeing it from Mo Salah. I'm expecting at least 20 plus goals from Nunez. I could see him assisting at least 4 or 5 of those. And getting at least 5 more easily on his own through other players. So I think 10 assists is something I could see him getting.
Okay.
I could see him getting 10 assists.
All right, cool.
I could see him getting 10 assists. If not, maybe like 12, 10, 12, something like that. That'd be
cool. All right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be interesting because I know that you guys are going to – I mean, he's going away for not like the AFCON break or anything like that, but I know that we have a couple international breaks, and he's going to be playing in those breaks for Colombia, I'm sure, So it's difficult when you have a player that's a world-class player like Diaz, and you have him in so many positions on the field. Your players are going to get international play when it comes to it. 10 or 12, so Beijing Pop is saying that 10 or 12 assists is a lot. I'm not saying it's not. I mean, I think because I want to say, what was it, 15? One, or 15, it was something like that. How many assists won the league last year? Who was the top assist getter for last year? I'd have to Google that. I don't know off the top of my head. But I think that is a lot of assists. But I'm not saying 10 or 12 assists just in the Premier League. I was thinking 10 assists all comps. GA. Are you saying 10 assists just in the Premier League?
Yeah, me. Yeah, 10 assists in the Premier League.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. So the top assist leader. Yeah, that's a lot of assists because the top assist leader in the 22-23 in the Prem was Kevin De Bruyne with 16. Mohamed Salah had 12. Trossard had 12. Saka had 11. Elise 11. Trent had 9. Madison had 9. And Mahrez had 10. So that is a lot of assists. I get that.
It is.
A lot of people are coming in. A lot of people are coming in and saying he's saying that's not easy to you, and he's saying 6 or 7 goals and 8 to 10 assists would be a great year. I'm not saying 10 assists just in Prem. If he gets that means he's had a phenomenal name. That means he's had a top 5 assist, tally. So that is a lot. But I do see us scoring a lot of goals. I see us scoring possibly over 100 goals this year. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's only been done a few times.
So currently he's on 3 goals overall and 1 assist.
Okay, so that's a lot. I would say I could see him possibly getting. I could possibly see him getting 10 assists. When I say 10 to 12 assists, I'm saying all comps. Probably I could see him getting 6 to 8 assists. 8 assists maybe.
He'll get 5 assists in the Luton game.
Right, exactly. Those games where we play those lesser competitions, you might see him bag a couple assists, bag a big good. There's going to be a couple of games I think this year that we had those like 8-0, 7-0, those kind of games, possibly even 10-9. Who knows? Maybe end up getting some like all-time record of goals scored type thing. But we're going to have a couple of games where we're going to have 5, 6, 7 goals scored, and a couple of those assists are going to be this, coming down to it. So anyway, all right, let's wrap this up because I want to check out this United game. Apparently, Nigel saying many thanks to the 12th man panel in the chat. Plenty of positives from the team to look forward to. You never walk alone. # Trent is back. Trent back for sure. It's gonna be some good games coming up this week. We got obviously Brighton away. We have obviously also a game against Union, and then we also have after the international break we have I think 2 if not 3 home matches in a row. We're going to be able to get back at it. Rasta Crab, big up Beijing Reds TV representing fully on this. I love the support. You guys, I support you guys always, dropping comments and everything else. But hey, Beijing Angel, do you have anything upcoming for that you Pops,
I'm not sure.
Rasta Crab, aka El Tucho, are going to be getting into?
I'm not sure right now. I think we might do like a preview show for the Europa League game, but I'm not really too sure. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Rasta Crab, if you have some more, or Pops, if you guys have anything that you need to put out there, put up in the chat. I'll put it up real quick. But yeah, big up to Beijing Reds TV again, and thank you for KMac from the KMac channel. I still have an episode that I want to do. I want to do a versus episode with the KMac. If you're still listening. I definitely want to do. I know that we're going head to head, and in a little matchup, and you called me out on something. So yeah, definitely want to get that little 2-man enter, 1-man leave competition going on. But other than that, man, let's wrap this up here. You'll Never Walk Alone. It's not just a song. It's not really an anthem. It's a statement of intent. And our intention is by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing to all these great channels, whether it's Beijing Reds TV, whether it's KMac channel, whether it's Quasi Bowl TV, whether it's Savage Talk Sports, Ensman's TV. Geez, there's so many of them. I know Sideline Football show, whether it's of course Anfield Uncle Rod's TV. Anfield Uncle Rod, excuse me. So many different channels, so many different people out there with content out there that bringing some great news, the great information, and it's always fun to have my American brethren, Beijing Angel, on here to help out and show some West Coast love. And yeah, man. Other than that, I think it's some good times. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow for your preview show. I'll most likely be doing a preview show too. I'm going to break down on who we should be looking at, concentrating on who we should possibly look to see some results from on our side and what lineup we'll possibly be going with. And other than that, it's on to Thursday. Put this stuff behind us. Let's march on and walk on together. I think that's the best solution or anything I can give to us. And yeah, other than that, let's just say peace out and bid adieu until tomorrow. All right. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
All right.